What a subject this morning. Do you snoop into your companions, your spouses, your boyfriends, your girlfriend's phone when they're not looking? This is a subject I think that everyone can relate to, right? Either you're doing it or someone's doing it to you, or maybe you're immune to it. Maybe it's not something that happens at all. If you're like me, you don't have either one, so you don't have to worry about it. But at the same time, I want you to think about it for just a moment. I was on a forum earlier where we were talking about this subject, and you had different opinions. Some people were saying there's no way, that I'm going to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a wife or a husband or what have you that I'm not going to have their password and their access to their phone. If they have their phone locked, I'm going to have their code to get into it. And I'm listening to this, and the first thing that comes to my mind is why? Why? I can tell you that I've been married several times. I have been around the block a few times, and I can tell you for a fact, I have never even browsed through, snooped through someone I've been married to. I've never snooped through their phone, never snooped through their handbag to even be that person. To me, some people on one category are going to say, oh, it helps establish trust if you give out your passwords and your access to your locked phone, or don't lock your phone at all. It's a sign of trust, to build trust where you give free access to everything and anything there is. And then on the other side of the coin, it's like you are showing distrust if you're a snooper. If you go into your spouse's or your companion's phone, or into their handbag, or into their wallet, or into the receipts, or into their what have you, and you're constantly looking for something that they're hiding, right? Now, there's so many aspects to this that I could talk about. Number one, the word insecurity comes up because sometimes insecurity and manipulation are tied together, because sometimes, most of the time, when people are extremely insecure, they're going to manipulate the other person. They're going to try to control the situation. It gives them security in their own description of security, and it causes them to feel as though they are not in a place to where they are being taken advantage of. It's like a protective wall that they're able to build psychologically around themselves, that they can see into someone else's life just to assure themselves that they're not being taken advantage of. Isn't it amazing that there's that much insecurity that are in people, that they have to snoop into someone else's phone or into their handbag or into their wallet or into their receipts just to see if they're exactly as trusted as they should be? There's also the other psychological side of it where I have seen a high rate. These are studies, by the way. There's an extremely high level of distrust that is expressed by people who cannot be trusted. In other words, when someone is snooping into your stuff to look for something that you're hiding, there's a fairly large percentage of chance that they are the ones who are hiding something, or they wouldn't suspect you of hiding something. Just letting you know that. That's just the way that life works. In other words, they reflect, or they are mirroring their own guilt, mirroring their own actions, assuming that everyone else are exactly the way they are, and their suspicions kind of start spinning in their mind. In other words, if they're cheating, they're going to look for signs if you're cheating. If they're doing something wrong or talking to someone in a wrong way, they're going to look for you to do the same thing. In other words, they reflect because that's what they know. They understand that. So to me, I've never been one to snoop into someone's phone. in my lifetime, and I've had plenty of opportunities to do so. I've never been that person even to look through someone's purse, someone's handbag. In fact, all the years that I was married, I can tell you for a fact if I needed to go into someone's handbag, if they said, "Hey, get my keys," if you don't mind, get the keys out of my handbag, I would be the kind of person that I would bring their handbag to them, and I would ask them to open. I said, "No, I don't go through your stuff." That's to me a sign of trust and a sign of respect to them. It's because to me, if something is not right or something is not within the realm of trust, it's going to come out anyway eventually, right? It's going to come out anyway eventually. If you spend your entire life looking for that needle in the haystack of those areas where people are not what they say they are, what a miserable path that is. Now, some people would say, well, why do you lock your phone in the first place? Well, I'm a business guy. I don't know about you. I don't know what your situation is. You may have children, you may have other people around you, but most people do put a lock on their phone, so you have to punch in a code before you can get into it, just because of a simple fact that people lose their phones. They sometimes get stolen. Sometimes there are people like me that have traveled a lot, and that you don't want to take a chance of someone getting into your business, getting access to your emails, getting access to your social media and other apps that you have access within your phone, so they can look into your life deeper if they find your phone, steal your phone, what have you. Because obviously if your phone gets stolen or lost, you can just basically go to another store, get a new phone, get everything reset, download everything from the iCloud and start all over. And everybody who's trying to get into your device can just kind of effortlessly give up because they can't get into it because it's locked. And that's the reason we lock our phones, is not because that we don't want people snooping that are the people around us that they're supposed to care about us. We actually put locks on our phones so that we don't have people accessing our business, our privacy, our lives, that don't have a right to access them. Now, if you're in the middle, and I'm going to give you some advice here, some wisdom. If you're in the middle of a toxic, manipulative, insecure, psychotic relationship where someone is constantly sneaking and looking into your phone, constantly looking into your apps and your Facebook, your messages, your Messenger, all these types. There's a reason for that. It could be that they're just insecure. They've been hurt before. They've gone through things before, and but at the same time, it's not fair to you. It's not fair to you that they're constantly doing that. I find that most of the time, and I hear a lot of stories, and I see a lot of communication about this, that most of the people who snoop don't want anyone to snoop on them. Most people who get into your phone don't want you to get into theirs. And it seems to me that the greatest way to get through all that, obviously, in my opinion, is to understand that you should trust the other individual. I don't have any dog in this fight, okay? So I don't have anyone that there's an issue in my life where I have this happening to me or I'm doing it to them, because it's just me and my dog. So I can talk openly here and just throw this out to you as blunt as it needs to be. If you're snooping in other people's stuff, that means psychologically you have a weakness to where you have to know something that you feel that they're not telling you. And you have an insecurity there. You have things going through your mind, and it could be so, might not be so, but at the same time, you're addressing it the wrong way. I'm just giving you that advice. You're addressing it the wrong way. You're making the situation worse. It's almost like a kid. If you have a teenager in your home and you're constantly blaming them or accusing them of something that they're not doing, eventually they're going to prove you right. And they're going to do it because they're going to get tired of being blamed for doing it. And they're going to eventually get to the point and saying, well, heck, I'm going to be guilty of doing it. Whether I'm doing it or not, I might as well do it. If you're in a relationship and you're constantly in your mind doubting your other counterpart, your spouse, your companion, you're constantly doubting that person, constantly suspecting that person, even though you constantly find that that is not the case and you're wrong on a consistent basis. Eventually, you're going to push that person to say, screw it. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm constantly not trusted. I'm constantly not someone that that person believes in, and that's not what I'm in this relationship for. And they're going to move on. They're going to leave you behind. You're not going to be that person anymore that you really wanted to be, because the efforts that you did has destroyed that. And also, you have manipulative people. Manipulative people meaning that they're going to try to make you feel guilty. They're going to put a guilt trip on you. They're going to put all kind of emotions on you and pass it on to you when it's really them. They're going to pass it on to you to make you feel bad if you don't give them that access to your phone or to your computer, to your life, whatever, to your handbag, whatever it may be. Guys manipulate women, women manipulate men on a consistent basis in this category. Don't put it on one side or the other. It goes both ways. But it's very important that you realize that manipulation is a part of insecurity. Insecurity and manipulation tie together. Insecurity has to be clothed with manipulation to survive the pain. I mean, that's just normal behaviors that people are going to manipulate the other partner. If they're insecure, they're going to manipulate the other partner to bring them down, get them inside of a box where they can control the situation where they feel secure, because now they have control. In other words, it's like, let me hold the gun. Let me be the one who holds the keys. Let me be the one who has the power to do whatever, because I don't want you to have any control, because I'm insecure. But in reality, that insecurity has developed a level of distrust in the people around them. Relationships cannot be built without trust. Trust is never, ever going to grow as long as you're constantly trying to find something that the other person is hiding because of your insecurities. Just because you have insecurities doesn't mean they have something they're hiding. Just because you have your own past or your own wounds or your own scars doesn't mean they're the ones who put those wounds and scars in your life. And you have to give that a chance, and you have to be a grown-up and not be a child. Remember, the more you accuse someone or suspect someone or believe the possibility that someone else is doing something wrong when they're not, eventually they're going to actually prove you right, and they're going to get tired of your manipulation, and they're eventually going to come forward in a different path, and you're not going to be in it. Make sure you make the right decisions. Quit snooping. Quit doing all this. Now, some of you are not going to agree with this. Some of you are going to say, well, I give my spouse my passwords. Listen, I don't know how many apps you've got. I've got apps all over my phone. If I had a spouse, if I had a companion, how much sense does it make that every time I change my passwords to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, not to mention Telegram and WhatsApp and Line and all these other accounts that I have where people communicate globally, and I'm in business, my email accounts, all these different passwords that I have, would it make sense really to take up a big giant chunk of time in your life that every time you went through to create the security in your accounts to where you're constantly changing your passwords so you don't have hackers jumping in on you, would it make sense to automatically say, okay, honey, here's a list of all my new passwords. I just changed them this week. Oh, next week you're going to do it again. Here's a whole list of my new passwords. Here's a whole nother list of my new passwords. It's not just unlocking your phone. It's also giving them access and passwords, usernames to every account you have, when many of us have, I don't know about you, but I have hundreds. And if I were in a situation where someone was constantly demanding, hey, I want to look into your messenger. I want to look at it. I want to see what you're saying to people. I'll say, like, okay, give me yours and let me look at yours. But no, I don't want to look at yours. I don't want to do that. I don't want to show you that I don't trust you, because that's not the way life works. So learn how to grow up. Learn how to put your pain of your past behind you when you're around someone. Don't carry that baggage of your past into the forward future. Make sure that you're moving forward on a consistent basis. realize that life is too short to walk around and wonder what people are doing. I mean, think about it. If somebody's going to hide something, are you going to follow them to the grocery store every time they go to somewhere? Are you going to follow them to the gym? Are you going to follow them wherever they go if they're in business and they have a business meeting and they have a lunch with someone or they have a coffee shop meeting with someone? Are you going to follow them to that coffee shop meeting and you're going to snoop on them and maybe put devices on them or put GPS trackers on their vehicles? I mean, where are you going to stop? Where are you going to put a line that says, I don't go further than this? Grow up, quit being a teenager if you're an adult. Quit being a kid that's insecure. Grow up and quit thinking that you have to control everyone else's life to make yourself secure. That's the best advice that I can give you. I hope you share this with everybody. And I hope that if you have a situation where you yourself have given in to that insecurity and you feel like you have a little bit more of a security if you're constantly snooping on the person that you care about, I hope that you realize that you are destroying the trust that you hope to gain. You may feel like you trust the situation better because you can see deeper into it, but what you're telling the other person is, I don't trust you. I want to see deeper beyond what you're willing to tell me. Think about that. Think about it deeper. Hope this wisdom has helped you just a little bit. And I hope that some of you are literally shocked and it changes your life and it teaches you not to do the things that are actually counterproductive of what you're trying to accomplish. Anyway, hope this helps. God bless. Trust is what it's all about. And trust can never be built on you constantly putting pressure on someone else to prove themselves. Actions speak louder than words.